Hi guys, welcome for tuning in. You're about to see the webinar video between myself, Kristina Kushner and Herman Nunez about international project management. The video was live on YouTube. Unfortunately, there were some technical issues. And also after 40 minutes, I got cut out of the video call. So anyway, the recording kept on going. So watch the video and let me know your thoughts. Hi everyone, welcome to this International Projects Experience webinar, where we will be discussing the wonderful and complex world of managing international projects. We are with three people in this webinar, myself, then Kristina Kushner and Herman Nunez, who are professionals in the field of international project management, but from a total different angle and covering a very large spectrum of the project management field. We invite viewers to post any questions they might have as well, so we can answer them at the end of the webinar. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mario Bons. I'm from Belgium and I'm the founder of the Spartacus online training center to help out project managers who need guidance. I've been involved in international projects for over 15 years now, which I've written also a few books about expat life and project management. With me, I have Kristina Kushner and Herman Nunez. Kristina and Herman, welcome to this webinar. I would like to give you some time to give explanatory about yourself as well.
Thank you. Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So my name is Kristina Kushner. I'm PMPO certified project manager. Initially, I have been starting my career in the travel industry. That has happened, that I have a degree in hospitality and in economics. But further on, I have switched to the professional project management in the IT and software industries. And still nowadays I'm in, and moreover, currently I'm also coaching other project managers. So,
okay.
Your turn, German.
Yeah, so my name is Herman Nunez. I'm a project manager. I have a very large career, as you can notice. I'm a mechanical engineer. I graduated in the 80s, and then I became a project manager. I got the certification 2 decades ago, and I've been working in many projects in different sectors like oil and gas, energy, infrastructure, housing, sports facilities, you name it. Okay, and I'm here. We are here to answer your questions. We are sharing our experiences, and I hope you find interesting. Okay.
Very good, very great. Seems a lot of experience in the webinar as well. And I believe I would like to start actually with one question. Something that I get a lot from people that don't do this kind of work. So they ask me, okay, what makes you get involved in international project management? Why do you do it? Because it's not an everyday job. It's not let's say a normal job. You're away from home. You're in the international community. You're running a project, often of many millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a huge responsibility. What makes you want to do that? So maybe I can divert the question first to Herman as well.
Okay, well, I started my career very early in my professional life, and I started doing projects with international firms like Brown and Root, Kellogg, Japanese companies. So it was a kind of a good opportunity to learn about different ways to manage projects. And then I had the opportunity to go out to manage projects abroad, and I learned a lot because it's very different doing international projects in your country and doing versus doing projects in abroad, because you know you have to work with different cultures, with the local teams, but what brought me there was life. You know, I was open to new cultures, and I'm here.
Very nice. Kristina, and from your point?
Well, you know, to be honest, international was the #1 thing I was involved during my career. So as I mentioned, I started in the travel industry and I have a degree in tourism and hospitality. Then I worked in consulting in the international projects as a manager, and further on I switched to IT and software projects, and still I continued working internationally. And what is more, I'm working remotely now. And since I have started in project management, that was a huge part of my professional path. So considering this, I'm dealing with people all over the world. This could be teams and clients in the United States, in Japan and Australia, in Europe. And that is really exciting and makes me feel in love with what I do. That is amazing from my point of view. What about you, Mario? How you come here?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, in the young years, when you go to school, in Belgium at least, nothing prepares you to go abroad, nothing. So in Belgium, you get fine-tuned and lined up to start working in a company in Belgium. That's how your life will look like. That's how they train you in school. So it's not a very common thing for Belgian students to say, okay, I go. Now, when I was very young, maybe 10 years old, my father always planned, he almost had it done, to go to the Dominican Republic to start his construction business there. For some reasons, this got cancelled, so he didn't go through with it. But somehow that microbe of wanting to leave, it kind of transferred to myself as well. And during the last year of school, I got this very nice letter in my mailbox with a picture of a boat, a palm tree, a beach, you know, the sun, like a holiday picture, saying, you want to work for us, you come to us. So actually that company, I went to that company, and the first day they put me straight on the plane to Qatar, which is for some people it's an exotic destination, for some people not really. So got dropped in the desert there, and to be honest, nothing prepared me for that, nothing at all. Different cultures, you know, I come from a town, a little town in Belgium. People live around the church. Nobody leaves that area. It's prohibited, you know. Suddenly you're in the desert with any kind of nationality, but Belgium or Flemish. In 50 degrees, you're not used to anything. Suddenly you're the foreigner, you know. But there is one thing which really got me going, something still gets me going until the day. From the moment that stops, I will not do it anymore, is actually you get united with different cultures, with different people. You have nothing in common, yet you can learn so much from them. It doesn't matter what function they have, it doesn't matter where they are on the social ladder. Everybody has something to teach you. And the good thing about it is you have to join forces with all of these people to finish your project successfully. And this is something, even in your own country, this can be a struggle. So imagine you do it outside, yet it seems to work very good, because all these people that are in that country, in my example, for example, Qatar, most people I worked with were foreigners in Qatar, were not from Belgium, so all strange people, and we had all that same goal, and everybody works together to get this project successfully ending. So that is something that is actually what makes me do what I do now. And it's something I could have never, ever expected. I mean, when I started with that letter, you know, I looked at it and said, oh, this will be fun for a year, you know, oh, maybe 2 years. Then that's it, you know, I'll travel around, and, you know, people think you're working as an international is about traveling around. No, it's not. It's part of it, and you get to know cultures, but you don't lie in your hammock all day long looking at the sun. So it was a wake-up call for me, how small-minded I used to be, yeah, because you don't know it. You don't know anything else, of course. But it was great. It's now 15 years, and when people ask me it's the same question, what makes you do it, or why are you still doing it? I look at them and I say, for me, it's a complete different way of living. You have a complete different mindset, different way of thinking. To go back to the origins, to say, okay, I go back to that little town in Belgium, and I'm gonna wander around there. It's you have a different mindset suddenly, and this is actually the one thing that keeps me going all the time, to have all those people united, like a team front, different cultures. To give you an example, just a half year ago, I was involved in Russia. I never thought I would go to Russia. I heard stories about Russian people that they are very strict, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was no nonsense, straightforward. It's again a complete different culture. I loved it. I felt at home there after a few months. So it's every country is the same. Is different, but I mean you live the same train of thoughts in every country. You go for the same goal, and everybody does it. And I just love it. I just love it. I know, Herman, I see you nodding, so I think you can place yourself in my shoes as well.
Yes. Well, I've been in Dominican Republic, and I tell almost everybody, do three things before you die. Go to the Dominican Republic and enjoy the beaches and everything. It was hard. When I was there, it was tough because I was working a lot. I was building the sport facility for the Pan American Games, and the pressure was terrible. But I enjoyed after the opening of the games. I enjoyed the golf and the beaches. It's beautiful, and the culture. I mean, the people from there is very friendly, happy. They like to dance and sing, and and I agree with you 100%. Is our way of life. I mean, if we like the challenges, and if we we love the challenge to know the different cultures and different people, and as you said, people from different social levels, with or without the academic formation. You learn always from people. Okay, I have been working also as Kristina from home or from my office with different teams in all over the world, but it's different. I mean, I like meet people personally from different countries, from different cultures, but nowadays a little bit difficult.
Yes, indeed. Did it change a lot for you, Kristina, the whole pandemic? Because you work remote, you do project management on a remote base. Did it change a lot for you, or is it acceptable?
Well, from the professional perspective, I can't say that I have experienced a lot of changes. As you have mentioned, I was working remotely initially, and still I'm continuing doing this. And what is more, I also see a lot of advantages and perspective in this direction. By the way, what is interesting among all of us, so you are working on site, and this is international projects. I'm working remotely on the international projects as well. And Herman, as I recall, you have been talking that you were involved locally, but in the international projects too. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. So this means that this international project management experience has a lot of different facets, but it's the same diamond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and from the project perspectives, definitely every project is absolutely unique. And as we all know, all the projects are in many cases, developed from scratch according to idea or simply a vision of the customer or someone who is ordering the project. And working internationally, you always meet people from different cultures with different habits, different outlook, and obviously sometimes with different accents. And can this be challenging? In my opinion, absolutely. But at the same time, you're always getting something new in your record and extending your knowledge with every project, as well as your outlook.
Indeed, indeed. To come back on what you just said, Kristina, so we have all three of us, we do similar aspects of project management, but in a different field. I'm traveling, you do remote, and Herman, he does the local international project. So I was actually wondering, because for me, it's sometimes a challenge. This is one of the challenges I have in my job, is to implement the values and the policies of my company or my organization or myself, it doesn't matter, to implement this on that project. So I just give you an example. If I have a project in Angola or Nigeria, which is a completely different world to what I know of, and I wanna implement whatever policy I have or whatever value I have, saying, okay, you know, I cannot have an incident on site, or I don't know, quality-wise, we have to reach this. Often this is a struggle to implement because you end up in a complete different environment where people just don't think like you. They don't think like your company. They have their own way of thinking, of course. So I was wondering, how do you, is it also difficult for you guys, and how do you cope with it?
Well, we talked about it a few days ago. In my own opinion, you have to adapt to every culture, especially in our job. But when you have troubles, when you have difficulties, you have to go back and stick to the fundamentals. It's hard for, I mean, not for everybody, but a lot of people to understand that we as project managers, we have to be organized. Our mental structure is a little bit different than the common people. I mean, we need to preserve, to keep our procedures and our actions in order to achieve the goals of the projects. So we have to manage the difficulties, and we have to communicate a lot with the people involved in the project, stakeholders and everyone. But we need to preserve the column of the project management, because that's the only way to keep you in peace. I mean, you go to bed and sleep tight when you have everything documented and everything under control. Okay, but I mean, it's difficult to work with different cultures, different languages. But if you try to stick to the procedures and to the best practices, you have a high percentage of success guarantee. That's my own experience.
Yeah, and I think it becomes easier once you have more experience, like yourself. But to switch off that button, like you say, in the evening, you want to have a normal resting time. You want to make sure that everything of the day is closed, or at least fine-tuned, that you know the next day how to proceed. And well, I've been there myself also. A lot of young people have difficulties doing that, of course, because they don't have the experience how to deal with other cultures, or how to deal with difficult people or problems. So it's something, it requires a lot of experience to master that, to be able to say, okay, at the end of the day, okay, these things are still open. I'll close them now like this, and tomorrow we move on in that way, correct?
Correct. Yes. And I love that part of the project management, that if you are proud to be a project manager, you need to be honest every time. I mean, all the time you need to say the truth, to be very communicative every time. Say what you have to say at the right moment, at the right place. Okay, don't delay things to do for tomorrow. I mean, do what you need to do today.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I love what you just said, actually, and this is something. Myself, I'm a huge fan of Kristina Kushner, sitting in my screen next to me. A huge fan. I watch all her YouTube videos, and what you just said is really something that is so undervalued, and such importance is actually to be proud to be a project manager. A lot of people forget it. A lot of, especially the younger generation, which I completely understand, they look at it as a job, right? So they have to do it, and after, I don't know, Friday they go home or whatever, they just look at it as a job. But no, it's something really, you are representing yourself, you're representing your company, your organization. You're the front face of everything. You go to the stakeholders, to the client, you talk, you are the face of your project, actually. And it's really something, to be proud of. It's something that a lot of people don't really understand, that you have to be proud of being a project manager. And this is something, Kristina, I really see in your videos. All the topics that you discuss, the way you bring them, you have a lot of passion in all those topics. So I'm pretty impressed by it, actually. Something that you don't see a lot of people, that they are so proud and come forward to what they believe in.
Thank you, Mario. So actually, yes, I absolutely agree with what you say. So you need to be proud of what you do, and what is more, not many people think of it, but project management is actually everywhere, and a lot of people have no clue that they are doing project management, and that is an asset of this professional path that probably we need to bring to them, to let them understand that how much project management is multi-applicable, and at the end of the day, how much ancient this profession is. Because when people were building pyramids, they had project manager, but probably they just didn't call them project manager, but someone definitely lead that project, as well as any other global projects. Yeah, this is true. So being a part of this huge society and huge professional, let's say, chapter, this is something I'm proud of, and hopefully everyone from us do the same. What is more, what I love about international project management, and I would like to outline as well. So yes, this might be challenging working internationally. However, when you do, you have an opportunity of meeting so many talented people all over the globe. And if you are working just on local projects, you probably wouldn't have this opportunity to meet them and to work on those amazing projects that these people are involved in. So what do you think about that?
Well, yes, you're right. It's amazing how many people you meet during your path to perform in your projects. Or, I mean, if you take a look at the big opportunity we have, I mean, meeting people, talented person that are giving their best, and they are very intelligent, very clever, and you have to be open to receive that information, that desire to bring their best. Okay, but that, yes, you're right. The projects are unique. I mean, each one is unique, and it's also a unique opportunity to learn from talented people. Yes.
Indeed. I think sorry, it sticks in my mind as being proud aspect. And this is actually one of the concepts, let's say like that I try to do as a leader on a project, to make other people, my colleagues, to make them proud of what they are doing. And this is something, it's sometimes it can be difficult, because a lot of people look at the job as a 9-to-5 job or whatever, while you as a project manager, you go for it, you don't go to sleep if the work is not done. So it's actually something in my expertise, making other people as proud as you are on the project is quite a challenge. I don't know, German, on your project, how do you do that? Because for me, if I'm on the project, you can talk to people and you try to motivate them, you give your big speech and say, let's do this. But for some people, this doesn't work. For some people, they're like, stop talking.
Yeah.
I'm almost finished.
Well, if you see the drawings or pictures of, how to be a leader, and how, the leader has to be involved in their responsibilities and their tasks. That's true. I remember when I was very young, in my beginning of my career, I worked for Abbott Laboratories, and well, I had to finish the project in a few weeks because of the vacation and the I had a very tight time to finish the constructions. So I remember once I was in Christmas and New Year Eve, and I had to work with the contractors. I mean, I had, because of the workers didn't go to work, I took the tools and pour the concrete and everything, I mean, myself. And that was a kind of example that I gave to the contractors, that I was involved personally. I worked with like a worker from their company. So that's the one of the ways to try to bring more enthusiasm from people you are working with. You have to demonstrate them that you are involved, that you are committed to success, and you need to do it all the time, even though you are tired or you are sad because something happened at home, or you are not feeling well. You need to be with your energy always in a high level.
Absolutely, 100% agree. So if you are not motivated yourself, there is no less opportunity to motivate others. So, and what is more, not only you need to be committed, but you need to be reliable as well, because all the time, if something goes wrong on the project, you are the number one person the team is addressing their queries. So should this be a deployment in 3 a.m. in the morning, if something goes wrong, you are going to be the one who they're calling, who are asking for help, who are asking to resolve those issues. So you need to demonstrate your accessibility, your availability, along with the reliability and commitment. That is my point. So, Mario, what do you think of that?
No, completely correct. Indeed, you have to be there. You pull the team and you pull the whole project. It's indeed super important, and often it's not. People don't really take it that serious, while actually it is. From the moment you walk in your project, you will go outside, you walk amongst people. You have to be the face they want to see you. No, I completely agree. Now, one of the other things I would like to have your view on is actually, because we discussed a lot of the positive things about project management. You get involved with people, but what in your opinion, and I'm sure we get different opinions here because we do different aspects. What is the most difficult thing in your job as project manager for you in your way of working? What is the most difficult thing that you encounter? That you say, every project I have to pay attention to this one.
That is an interesting question. Well, as long as we are talking about international project management, and as I'm working remotely, actually the biggest pain in the neck usually is time zones. Because, well, when you're working remotely, most likely you're going to be dealing with people from different countries. And actually many companies are taking advantage from this because, well, as I have mentioned, there is a ton of people who are talented, but in most cases, they are not co-located. So you have talented people from China, from the United States, from Venezuela, from Europe, from Australia, and all these people have different time zones. That is why when, for instance, they're collecting a team for a project, there is a huge level of possibility that your time zones are not going to be overlap 100%. So that is something special you need to pay attention to. And as a project manager, it is your responsibility to find the best convenient and appropriate time for a team to collaborate together. And if, for instance, the majority of the team is in the overlapping time zones and someone is located far, far away from you, you will need to sync with this person individually, you will need to work with this person individually, and it adds a certain portion of additional work to you. But this person brings a lot of advantages to the project with his experience and his level of expertise. So yes, I would say from my perspective, time zones would be one of the most challenging parts.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, indeed. That's true. Yeah, I can imagine, because for myself, of course, I work remote, but my head office is in Antwerp, in Belgium. And indeed, I already struggle, but yeah, you struggle even more because you you go every direction, of course. And for you, Herman, because you do the international projects and in the local base?
Yes, in my own, I mean, from my point of view, because my activity is mostly on site, is sometimes we estimate the productivity metrics. I mean, for example, if you go to Argentina and your project is being developed in summer, or maybe in Europe, if you expect to have the same response from the people from Europe or from America or from Middle East, is wrong. I mean, it's a mistake, because everyone or every country, every culture has their own productivity. And in construction, in the construction area, sometimes we think that the productivity in that country is the same compared with the country that is beside that country. I mean, it's not, the productivity in Colombia is not the same as in Ecuador, even though they speak Spanish and they are, we believe that they have the same culture. Well, it's not, okay? And well, imagine the productivity in summer in Europe. I mean, when especially, for example, some countries that summer is kind of I don't know how to say it. If you ask someone to work overtime in summer in Europe and in Italy, for example, is impossible. They are in a vacation period. So in the beginning, we should take care of the productivity metrics in each country, and the of course the time zones and the calendar, because it's different when you ask for work or documents in Christmas or in Easter time. It's different in each country, okay, because of the culture. So if you are planning an execution in an international project, you have to be careful with the productivity. And of course, the calendar of each country. The local calendar is very important.
Yes, I think the same actually. So, in the remote projects is more or less.
I think Mario.
Yeah, some
is disconnected.
Issues with connection, I guess, but hopefully he will be able to connect back very soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, as I have mentioned, it is very important to consider the cultural differences, and I guess they are even more notable when you are working with the local teams. For instance, while you're working remotely, more or less people are on the same wave because all of them are involved in the same environment. They all need to be online, connected, and so on. So approximately they could expect similar engagement, similar issues, or similar level of availability. But when you're working with local people, definitely the calendar and the customs that they got used to in their local country works a really big role in planning and in management.
Yes, it is. Your projects are most of the times short, in a short term, or you have projects that their duration is more than 1 year?
Oh, that depends. If this is some huge application, we could work even years on it. So starting from the very beginning when you're delivering the minimum viable product, and further on you're developing it in other milestones. So projects could be really extensive, or if this is something very complicated, for instance, we were working with the legacy code upgrade and it took us 9 months to upgrade one application. So projects could be extensive, but definitely there are shorter ones as well present. And what about your projects? How long do they usually take?
Well, mostly more than 1 year. For example, the housing programs are very long-term programs. Mm-hmm. Maybe the duration could be 5 years. But yeah, I have worked also in projects that the duration were less than 6 months. Sorry. For example, the sport facilities in the Dominican Republic. But my kind of projects are industrial plants and housing. So you have to develop an engineering and use technologies and put everything together, conceptual engineering, basic engineering, detail engineering, and that part of the project, which is the conceptual stage, is depends on the project. It lasts more than 6 months. And then you have the procurement and the construction and startup.
Indeed. And yeah. That is really interesting. And from the international point of view, when you're working on such a long-lasting project, if it is international, is there any specific impact on it? Well, when I am thinking of the long-lasting international project, I assume that on different stages of the project, I would need different professionals. So does it mean that you need to bring someone new every time, every phase on the project as well?
Yeah, the main issue there is that because the project lasts a long time, the team changes. I mean, the manager changes because of the personal issues, or they were promoted to another position, and then you have to work with a new person and new people. And I mean, when you already achieve the developing stage of the team, that they are supposed to perform, you have to start again. And then you have that chaotic stage, because that people or that guy doesn't know the other people and doesn't know the procedures, and every project has its own way of perform, way of its own culture. Okay, so when people changes, you have to start again and try to bring that new person to the team in order to perform with the same level of volume for performing.
Yes, I understand that. Well, and I guess especially this is more complicated on long-lasting projects, because if you're having all the team changed, that impacts dramatically. So for instance, on shorter projects, let's say the ones that I have mentioned, 9 months, maybe on month 6 or 5, team is already performing. And when we have someone new there, it is less complicated to bring the person on speed, because if all the team is performing, you're just adding one more and you're working with one person, just bringing him up. So it doesn't impact much on a project. But when you work for years and when you need to change almost all the team during this period of time, this is really a huge effort to do from the project management perspective.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. And
that.
Sure.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask about your thoughts of your career in general. So probably if you know all this right now, would you change something? And would you focus on something specific during the career path?
Yes, well, I made a lot of mistakes. When I was, I just said before, I was a project manager without knowing that I was. And I was, leading projects using my instinct, but because every project is different, I made different mistakes. So after knowing that, after realizing that, I investigated a little about the career of being a project manager. So I studied, I got the certification, and now I think that if I would have started studying and knowing more about the best practices, I think I would done it better. I mean, I think I would have made less mistakes. I don't know. And I would change that. I would have learned how to play golf earlier. I would have study more about project management. And because of my life experience, I had to move out from my country because of political reasons and security and everything. Maybe I would have moved before, but that's life. I mean, I don't regret that. Well, I have to be honest. I regret not learning golf earlier.
Totally. Yeah. Actually, I feel you. So initially, from my perspective, I didn't know as well that I was doing project management until I finally dove in this. Totally. And what is more, learning fundamentals is extremely important because, as you have mentioned, same is here. When I have started, I was bumping in every wall. So you are making mistakes all the time because simply you do not have an opportunity to match the puzzle together because you do not have an understanding of the process. You do not know what the project is consist of. You do not know any methodology. Actually, one person gave me a great example. So starting in the project management career without any academic background or without knowing fundamentals is like running in the dark forest with your eyes closed.
Yes.
So you could make any mistake that you even could make. And from this perspective, yeah, I would say that if I just had a chance to realize that there is a possibility to learn in this field, I would definitely do this. Another issue is when you're starting and when I finally realized that I'm in project management, I have other colleagues who, let's say, have more experience, but due to the reason that all the project managers have so many duties and we are so much loaded on work, there is no chance or almost no chance to learn from your colleagues because they do not simply have enough time to explain you anything. Yeah, that is why learning stuff is very important. Well,
yes.
And probably I would add, if you have an opportunity to learn more languages, it would be even more advantage on the international projects too.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's one of my things that I had that I would have done it before. I don't speak English. I do my best.
Your English is perfect. Come on.
No. But well, I would do that before, but in my country there was no need to do it because everything was okay. A lot of multinationals, national companies came to our country in order to develop big projects. Remember that in my country, the oil and gas is was a big business, okay, for decades. And well, we had the opportunity to participate in those projects, in doing I mean, as players, big players, were having big responsibilities in those projects. And so there was no need to go abroad and learn different languages, or because everything was okay. But from 20 years ago, the situation changed, and we need to move out, okay? But you're right. Knowing languages is very important. I tell my students that before getting a title, a diploma, try to speak English because it's the international language. Because you know, for example, I had people, teams from the Middle East, and especially from Lebanon. Those young guys know French, English, Arabian, and Spanish, and they were only 20 years old, millennials, but they were brilliant because they know those languages. I mean, their mind were open. They were, you know, they had the facility to adapt and to understand other cultures. I mean,
Indeed.
easier than people that only know one language.
Sure, languages give flexibility as well and opportunities to adapt faster. And by the way, talking about languages, I just recall what you have told us a couple of days ago, and that is amazing. So you have outlined that project management is also a universal language for people. So
yes,
that is one more reason for learning fundamentals. And thank you for pointing this out. That was just blowing up my mind. I love that thought and totally agree with you. So when you know fundamentals in project management, when you know all the general aspects and assets of this craft, you can talk internationally to other project managers too.
Yes, you're right. Yes, when you talk about, for example, costs, earned value, stakeholders, I mean, it's a common language that we need to speak.
Yeah, project management vocabulary.
Yes, yes.
Indeed. So looks like we have been cut off YouTube too, unfortunately, but we still have a record, and that is great. We are going to upload it too, so that people would have an opportunity to finalize the webinar with us and probably to share their feedback, which would be amazing. And if you're watching this, we would love to hearing from you if you enjoyed it and if you would like us to add more sessions or series to this webinar talking about international project management and project management in general. So, Herman, thank you very much. If you do have anything else to add, please.
Well, thank you, Kristina, Mario, for this opportunity. Yes, you are free to contact us. We are available. We are, as you can notice, we are passionate about projects, and we would like to have another session or other sessions in the future. And please give us your opinion. We appreciate your feedback. And well, thank you very much. It was amazing. It was very interesting and fun. Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mario, for organizing this, because he was the one who initiated this communication. And I'm really glad I have an opportunity to join you today. Thank you, Herman. It was interesting and very valuable talking to you today and getting all this insight from your perspective. That is amazing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Stay in touch.
Thank you.
You will
Bye-bye.
find all the contact information below to this video. Bye.
Bye. Bye.